What's going on, everybody? Yeah, you hear that siren? This is not the live. If you want the optimism, you want that feel good. Oh, it's early. Nah, this not the live. Like we on a different time. It's time to come to the courthouse. It's time to come to the front of the church. It's time to come to that podium. We need Evero to let us know what really happened and what's going on in that locker room, what's going on in that scheme, what's going on in his mind, what's going on in his play calls. It's your man C Dougie over here at What's Up, Dub, man. It's me and my co-host, my brother, Uncle Quan, talking to you guys. We tired of it. We need answers, man. Evero, what is your game plan going forward, man? Go ahead and tell the people what's up, Uncle Quan.
What's up, everybody? What be going? So, man, your boy Q, aka Uncle Quan. Hey, shout out to my guy Doug for bringing me on. As always, man. Look, it's time to talk about this stuff, man. It's time to talk about it. So I'm glad you're bringing it up, man. Doug is calling out Evero. He's bringing him up to the stage. Like, look, you got a lot to answer for, and rightfully so, man. This defense has regressed, and it's ironic because we finally got our offense together, at least somewhat able to put together a drive, put some points on the board, and now our defense is regressing. So what happened with the Carolina Panthers defense, man? We about to go ahead and jump into it, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button for my boy C Dougie. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed to the channel, man. And hit that notification bell so you do not miss the next time my guy uploads, man. So let's go to get into it, Doug.
Yes, sir. Before we get into it, man, let's go ahead and shout out our sponsor at SeatGeek, man. Unfortunately, yes, I'm on that type of time. I will not be in Washington. I went ahead and sold my tickets. But for you guys can use the code What's Up, Doug, and get $25 off your next ticket purchase. That is a basketball game. Hopefully, my Miami Heat and my Tar Heels are doing good. Then you have what else? You got concerts. You got high school football. And if you want to get $1.87 ticket to the Carolina Panthers at home, you can do that as well. So again, if you want to use the code at SeatGeek, type in the code What's Up, Doug. You get $25 off your next ticket purchase for first-time users. Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm on that type of time, man. I'm on that type of. I'm over it. I'm over it, man. Like I said, as you guys already see, this man Evero popping up, coming to press conferences, looking all smiley and happy. It's not those type of days and time going on in Carolina right now. From week 1 all the way to week 5, this defense has not looked any better, regardless of how you personally felt about Brian Burns, how you personally felt about Frankie Louvu. This defense needs to answer and give a better performance than they've been able to do so far early in this 2024 season. I also look at it where we're going to get a deep dive. We're not just going to get all the blame on Evero, because as people used to say, oh, Bryce Young was the problem. Bryce isn't a starting quarterback anymore now. So the same energy that y'all gave Bryce Young, give this same energy to Ejiro Evero's defense. Yes, Andy Dalton has looked pretty decent, hit or miss how you feel about these last 2 games with the Bengals and also with this past Sunday with the Chicago Bears. But this defense has not changed, regardless who's on the offensive side of the ball. Go ahead, Quan.
Man, hey, you mentioned in these past 5 weeks just how bad the defense has been, man. To give you perspective, we gave up 165 points total in the last 5 weeks. That's the worst in Carolina Panthers history. And it's real ironic because regardless of how bad this team has been historically, we have always had somewhat of a solid defense. Not counting the 2011 season, a couple seasons here and there, but majority of the time, our defense was always our backbone of what the Carolina Panthers was. And this year has been the total opposite, man. I mean, we have declined. We have 0 pass rush. Our linebackers are very suspect, man. Shaq Thompson, before he went down, man, I hope he gets healthy, by the way. Before he went down, he was showing the same old, man, missing tackles here and there. And it's been a result of our entire team, man. Our secondary is very suspect. We're getting burnt. There's a lot of miscommunication here and there. J.C. Horn, our star corner, he's had some really good cornerback play, but he even has his times where he's struggling with communication or getting burnt his dang on self. So I don't know, man. We regressed a lot. And it's really just a lot of different areas that you can tackle with this defense. But starting out, man, 165 points given up, that's crazy in the first 5 weeks.
And you just took the next point I was going to go to. That's 33 points per game that we're averaging giving away. Even though the Raiders, we only gave up 22, we gave up 26 to the LA Chargers. That's still over 5 games, is 33 points. And most of those points are coming from your first game, opening up the season in NOLA, and then you're going to Chicago, going to play against a rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams. Then when you look at it, you have to understand you went against Derek Carr, you went against a Justin Herbert, you went against a Gardner Minshew, you went against a Joe Burrow, and like we just said, Caleb Williams. The only win that you got was from a mediocre team that is a dysfunctional organization right now where their star players are not coming to play, and that is the Las Vegas Raiders. Outside of that win alone, that defense hasn't did anything against Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, or Caleb Williams. So for me, it's more of Evero, what went wrong? You brought in the players that you wanted to bring in. You drafted a player last year that you said was going to be a project and should be able to show what he can do going into year 2. Absolutely nothing. Garbage. Then you bring in A'Shawn Robinson. I will give him his flowers. He's doing as best as he can right now. But Josie Jewell, hate that he's hurt right now, but before his injury, first 3 games, terrible. Jordan Fuller, blown coverages, having bad eyes, bad placement, not being in the right place, getting handoff to a corner, giving the safety the assignment, blown assignments. So, Evero, you brought in players that you wanted here at Carolina. What do you have to say for it? Absolutely nothing. Again, it's the same as that thing. And if you saw the frustration on Evero's face yesterday, what are you yelling for now? This is week 5. You should have been doing this weeks 1 through 4. Like I said, that asterisk at the Raiders, even though we may be a dysfunctional team right now, I would say the Carolina Panthers, regardless of that win, is a better team than the Raiders right now because of what that organization is going through.
Facts, man. And Doug, you mentioned that personnel, man, and off screen, bro, we talked about it a couple times. Like, I know Doug would say, like, look, Evero's, you know what I'm saying, got this defense looking silly. And I would say, like, hey, Doug, well, I don't know, man, you can't do nothing without personnel. But he brought up a good point. A lot of this personnel was brought in from Evero. Obviously, he has familiarity with a lot of these guys, so he felt like he could bring his guys in and do the same thing that he did pretty much last year. Well, newsflash, when you get rid of your best linebacker in Frankie Luvu, you get rid of your best pass rusher, Brian Burns, and you get rid of Dante Jackson, who's a pretty solid corner on the other side of J.C. Horn. You get rid of a couple other guys, man. So all of our defense is pretty much it's fresh now. You got a whole bunch of different guys working with each other for the first time, and the chemistry is just not there. Obviously, we've seen it with the Caleb Williams game. A lot of miscommunication. Guys getting behind safeties. Guys supposed to be passing guys off, and they're not doing that, man. It's just a lot of miscommunication. But overall, just going back to that personnel, it's not much that you can do with this. And I think Evero shot himself in the foot. We don't have pass rush. We don't have linebackers that can really stop the run. We don't really have the scheme to stop the run, man. And I know a couple of fans talked about it before, just this whole 3-4 scheme. So, like, 3-4 scheme, we can't stop the run. We can't do anything with the pass. I mean, we gave up over 1,100 yards passing already in just 5 weeks. You know what I mean? Over 60-something first downs through the air. That's insane. Y'all got to think about these numbers. It's only been 5 weeks, and it's not going to get any better because we got guys going down left and right. So it's not a good look for the Carolina Panthers defense, man. And I really think Ejiro Evero, we were all anticipating to get a head coach position after this year during this offseason, I think he is putting himself in a bad position to be able to elevate to that next position, man.
And also, when you look at it, I need to understand why Dave Canales brought or retained Evero as his D coordinator. Outside of the 2 games we played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what has Evero done against these other 32 teams? Meaning, how did he do against these teams last year outside of our division opponents? I understand that you didn't want to bring a new coach over, learn a new scheme, it'd just be a total rebuild. It is a rebuild, Dave Canales. And last year, we couldn't stop the run. So far this year, we can't stop the run. Yes, we had injuries last year. People can say, oh, well, duh, this or that. I don't want to hear the excuses. The same excuse Quan and I was giving Bryce Young. What's the excuse for Evero? He brought in people that he wanted. People have blown assignments. People are not wrapping up. Same thing goes for last year. So for me, it's more of why did you bring him back? And Quan talked about him being a head coach. I don't think anybody wants this man as a head coach candidate right now. 2 years back to back, and your defense is this bad.
Yeah, man, and I really think like Canales came in with the impression that, you know what I'm saying, he had a pretty complex defense. Like when he went against them twice, he was talking about it in the press conference like, hey, this was the most complex defense I ever played. I haven't figured it out yet. So maybe he was just like keeping them in-house so he could try to get that knowledge from them. Maybe he was keeping them in-house to try to keep that chemistry together. Who knows why he kept Evero, man. But I do know this. Canales probably had the expectation that he would have him for 1 year so that he could be elevated to head coach. Yeah, I don't know about that no more, man. I mean, he literally shot himself in the foot when he brought in this type of personnel. When you bring in this group of guys that really can't produce this defense for you, or at least the defense that you're trying to do, you're not going to be no head coach. You're going to continue to be a coordinator and probably somewhere else, because after this year, seeing a decline in the numbers with this defense, I don't know if we're going to keep Evero. I honestly don't. And like you said, it's a rebuild, so what's the point of keeping Evero here? Let's just get somebody else in here that we can build around. But first, we really got to fix this personnel group, because if you give another coordinator this same personnel, it's not really much you can do with this at all. No matter if you're playing a 3-4, 4-3, this personnel is all just mid-depth pieces. That's it.
And that's where I was going to get at, because I was going to ask you, 3-4 or 4-3. So many people want us to go back to the 4-3, but you got to understand, you got to have the right bodies. For a 3-4, we don't have the right bodies. I'm not going to say the name that people say, I crucify this man, I'm so critical of this man. I'm not going to say his name, but he is not a nose tackle. He's not a nose tackle. In a 3-4, you need a big hog molly, a big nasty that can do the dirty work. They had one in Tampa Bay. Carolina does not have that KK Short or Starlo Tulue type of nose tackle to run a 3-4. You can't be undersized. You can't be barely close to 300 pounds playing nose tackle and getting abused the way that you get abused in the middle of the line, where most of the runs start and the only thing you have to do is have jump cuts, because we have people that don't know how to freaking tackle.
Piss poor, bro. Piss poor.
So let's go ahead and talk about it. Tackling, week 1, NOLA. Play right here. Everything looks good. Jamal Williams runs to the right. What happens? Assignments missed and not having great gap control. No, you can't blame that on Evero, but scheme-wise, personnel-wise, that's an issue that needs to be addressed. What else you see, Quan?
And so right here, bro, you got a lot of missed tackles, man. Missed time blitz by Shaq Thompson right here. I mean, everybody is pretty much caught in the loop. So terrible tackling, terrible angles. And I mean, guys not getting off their blocks, man. This is way too easy for a running back to have to be untouched and like literally run straight through the whole pause and get straight to the end zone, man. So like, this was way too easy for the Saints, man. Way too easy.
Yeah, man. And then, like I said, I mean, next clip that you got right here, you look, Derek Carr, basically, nobody's running, attacking him. There's no pressure. He's basically directing traffic for his tight end to get open. And you had, if I counted correctly, 5 defensive players that's not covering anybody and just looking around, trying to figure out what he's going to do. Instead of somebody running pressure, everybody just stood back. And then you had A'Shawn Robinson finally tackling the tight end for a touchdown where it's too late, where he had opportunities to throw the ball.
I mean, it looked like backyard football, bro. Like, literally, you have Derek Carr. Y'all, Derek Carr. Walk with me with this. Derek Carr is literally scrambling outside, and there's nobody in his face whatsoever. I mean, he got all day to tell his guys where to go, direct traffic, yada, yada. He can make a dang on hot pocket in that pocket. So he got plenty of time, and eventually somebody's going to get open. You got to get some type of pressure up front, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous, man. Like I said, we going all the way through week 5. Then let's go ahead and go to week 2. First clip right here. Goal line stand. You're in the red zone. Justin Herbert in the shotgun. Quentin Johnson running right behind your middle linebacker and Josie Jewell. Then he turns around and is like, oh, I was supposed to cover you. Like, blow an assignment. Again, Evero brought this young man in, and again, this is not harping on the player. This is the scheme and the individuals that are not coming to play on this defense. Like I said, the same pressure that we give people on offense, we're going to hold you accountable on the defense as well. So Josie Jewell had a blown assignment right here. Very blown. Didn't follow your man, and it's man-to-man coverage with him coming in motion, and you just let him go right by you and behind you for a touchdown.
Wide open.
Wide open. Go ahead and talk about the Nets. Go ahead and talk about the J.K. Dobbins. Go ahead, Quan.
Man, again, missed tackles. Guys looking out of position. I mean, we can sit, like Doug said, we can sit here and talk about scheme all we want to, man. But at the end of the day, these players on the field, bro, they got to execute. And you got guys missing angles, guys missing tackles. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, y'all. I mean, this looks like Pop Warner football, man. The basics that you usually teach these guys early on, it looks like these guys are struggling with that in the National Football League, man. So, I mean, it's an atrocious film all around, man. What you put on tape, I mean, you can't get around it. Can't get around it, bro.
And like I said, when you just look at it, Justin Herbert had a field day with our defense. Again, another quarterback that did not have a lot of pressure. Yes, I mean, I understand we got a forced fumble with Clowney hitting his hand and we scooped it up. But other than that, that's just like a little star for the whole game. Again, these quarterbacks in running games know that we are weak at the line of scrimmage. And we'll talk about the guy that I blame at towards the end. This is not all on Evero. It's another GM that I'm glad is not here anymore. I do believe in Dan Morgan, but there is a GM that basically has set this team back for years to come as well too. But when you look at week 3, we go to Vegas. Beautiful city, hot as hell, but great environment. Have fun. Came out with a win. But at the same time, Gardner Minshew, outside of those 3 sacks that we had plenty of time all week. All week that in week 3. Then when you look at this pass right here, if you look at the arch, where you know what I mean for our offensive line to create an arch, a protection for a quarterback, what happened? He threw a pass to a disgruntled Devontae Adams that may be traded this week from the Raiders. But outside of that, every quarterback that has played against the Carolina Panthers has had plenty of time to dissect our defense and find the holes in our defense.
Thanks.
What you got, Quan, about the Raiders?
I mean, if you take a look at it, bro, Gardner Minshew is literally a backup guy. He's a backup quarterback. Gardner Minshew, I'm not going to take any talents away from him. I mean, yeah, he's talented, but again, a backup quarterback. This really showed me early on, like, we really are struggling with pass rush. A guy like Gardner Minshew, yeah, he got legs. He can get out the pocket. He can navigate through the pocket, and he can flush the pocket. So he did a good job with that. But at the same time, if you look at it from our end, bro, we got to be able to get home, man. We got to be able to get somebody in his face to at least disrupt his timing of the throw. Maybe, disrupt him setting his feet. It's none of that right here. Like, if you look at this clip, bro, it's just nothing here. I mean, Gardner Minshew is way too comfortable flushing outside of the pocket and making throws, man.
Yeah, man, like I said, it gets worse. Then we have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, the wide receiver everybody wanted to come to Carolina. We're basically playing pinball, not wrapping up. Then you had Joe Burrow turning into Lamar Jackson, his divisional rival, basically spinning out, doing a whole 360 to get out of supposedly pressure and throws it down the field to Chase Brown.
And the sad thing is, bro, this is not the first or last time we're going to see quarterbacks that's usually not known to be mobile spinning out and running around our defense, like literally running in circles around our defensive line.
Go ahead and tell my next one. I want to talk about it.
I mean,
it couldn't be me.
Joe Burrow. I mean, he's literally spinning around. I think what was that? A third down? Spinning around.
It was a third down.
Juking people. I mean, we got to get one more stop, chat. One more stop. He threw a dot. They got the first.
Go ahead and talk about Mr. Yak. Go ahead and talk about Mr. Yak on the clip that happened.
Man, Jamar Chase. We know what Jamar Chase can do. Let's be real. He got great contact balance, great speed. But when you get in position to make a play on Jamar Chase, you have to make a play. You look at this clip and you see this number 40. I don't even care to know his name. Look at number 40. tackling high, looking like a Pop Warner, like a Pop Warner football player, somebody that I would probably have to coach up and probably pull out the game after seeing that. Tackling way too high on a guy like Jamar Chase when you know scouting him coming into the game and looking at film on him,
Slippery.
you have got to tackle low with Jamar Chase. This was pitiful. Not just number 40, but the whole entire
You had
team.
Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods was the first victim. Then you had your outside linebacker / DN in Harris, who's number 40. And then you look at the end of the clip, you got Shaq Thompson and Josie Jewell running behind Jamar Chase that we know they were not going to be
terrible angles. Terrible angles all around, man. I mean, this is just bad football. Like, let's just put it how it is, bro. In the simplest form. Bad football, man.
Not like I mean, the national media, where Quan and I have been looking at throughout all day, where they're calling us a terrible, undercoached football team. And I hate hearing that from national media because we love our beloved Panthers. But this is terrible. When I say stench,
embarrassing.
That's the word, embarrassing. And then the last game that just happened this past Sunday. We already knew that DJ Moore was going to have revenge. Regardless, if this was not the coaching staff or the same GM, we traded away how much he loved the Carolinas. Then we had Caleb Williams come out here like he was the second coming of freaking Patrick Mahomes.
Crazy.
The more and more I think about it, it just eats me up inside because this team should be a lot better. The product, I'm not talking about wins and losses, but this is becoming uncompetitive now.
Facts, man. I mean, you got a rookie quarterback, and the irony with this, man, coming into this game, I was like, you know what, bro? I don't usually have confidence in this team, but I know dang on well we're not about to let no rookie quarterback come in here. Somebody that, a rookie quarterback that's been struggling early in the season. Like, yeah, he had a pretty good game the week prior. He was starting to come along, but I was like, okay, I don't think a rookie quarterback is going to be just dicing us up. No way in hell. I was wrong. I mean, over 300 yards, Doug, for a rookie quarterback against our defense. And not only did he throw 300 yards, he threw a couple of touchdowns to our guy, DJ Moore. And it looked a lot like deja vu when we had Steve Smith over there in Baltimore. And I mean, he put up what? He put up 2 touchdowns against us too, if I'm not mistaken.
He did.
It was literally history repeats itself yesterday. And I mean, it was atrocious. Caleb Williams, every time I looked up on the screen, he was chilling in the pocket. I mean, he had all day to go through, read 1, 2, 3, and 4, and maybe even 5, and maybe even look at the sideline and say hey to the fans, bro. It was bad. I mean, he had so much time to just do whatever he wanted to do. Spin around in circles, run out the pocket. I mean, he looked crazy. He looked crazy against our defense. And I guarantee you, he wouldn't even look like that against somebody else like Philadelphia Eagles, just for a random example, man. Like a team that has a competent defense. But
he hasn't eclipsed 300 yards until he played our defense.
Exactly. First 300-yard game of his career, man.
Don't worry, because now we're going to close it out because I'm going to let you know how I really feel. Scott Fitterer put this team behind. This man building from he was being a GM to the all defensive draft picks that we had one year to the poorest pickings of free agency that he brought into the Carolinas. Then when you look at the trade that he did with the Chicago Bears, outside of that, this man has set this team back so many years that I don't know what to expect.
Facts.
I don't know what to expect.
It's going to take another couple years, man. Probably 4 or 5. Who knows at this point? Because we even ironically about 5 years ago, we were saying it might take another 5 years. And here we are 5 years later. We're still in a rebuilding process. So Scott Fitterer did put us behind a lot. Hopefully Dan Morgan can put us together again, man. But it's going to take some time because we need a lot right now. We need pass rushers. We need linebackers. We need corners. We need safeties. We need offense. I mean, we need a lot right now. So it's going to take a couple of years to really rebuild this thing through the draft. And that's really what it's going to be important to do that. Like, yeah, shout out to Dan Morgan for getting that second round pick back. But it's really going to be imperative that we nail the draft because we are known as a team in the recent years where we're struggling with the draft picks. Like when we pick our draft guys, we always missing out on guys. We'll pick somebody and then they turn out to be trash, and then we'll see somebody else who we could have got on another team just balling out. So we got to be better with the draft. We got to be better with free agency, but it's definitely going to take some time, man. It's going to take a lot of time to rebuild this thing.
Yeah, and do I think Evero's gonna be the man? I don't know.
Absolutely not. Nah.
Because honestly, this defense is porous, it's terrible. And like you see on the thumbnail, enough is enough. The same way you guys felt about Bryce, enough is enough. But man,
yeah, can you imagine if we gave Evero the head coaching job, man?
You almost made me turn my camera off.
You remember he was one of the candidates, man.
Bro, you almost made me turn my camera off when you said that. But man, like I said, me and Quan, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, man. We just brought you guys a short segment of talking about this defense, man. We be one to bring you guys content, but it's very hard right now, man, with the trials and tribulations that we have in Carolina. But again, this had to be talked about. We were able to give you guys our comments, give you guys our thoughts. Definitely leave a comment for us. Let us know how you guys feeling. Quan, go ahead and tell the people what else you got coming up, man, and what's going on with you for the rest of the season, man.
You guys can find me over at the Panthers Experience, Uncle Quan, man. Y'all can go ahead, tune over there to the channel, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? We go live every Wednesday night. We will be going live sometimes, sporadically. Like yesterday, we did a Monday night live. So just be on the lookout, man. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss it, man. We love to have you over there just to talk our junk about the Carolina Panthers, man. Just the pitiful performance that we've been getting from the Carolina Panthers. We come over there and we just talk our junk, man. Talk our junk. You know what I'm saying? Laugh about it or whatever we got to do, man. But pull up, share your thoughts, leave a comment. I usually like to do the experience with the Panthers, you know what I'm saying? Hence the name, and go out to the games and all the training camps and stuff. But this year, man, I don't know about that. It's not worth it. You know what I mean? I like to do film study. That's also not worth it, man. But still, you know what I'm saying? Just pull up, tune in. You know, we'll love to have you over there, man.
Yes, sir, man. So like I said, that's my brother, man, my co-host. Again, we appreciate you guys joining. Hopefully this was a venting session so you can talk about Evero and his defense as well. Also talk about the team if you wanted as well. But again, everybody stay safe. I know there's bad weather coming throughout this week for the Floridians. Hope everybody's safe. Remember, a life cannot be replaced, but material things can be. So as we always say over here at What's Up, Dub, we appreciate the support. Everybody stay safe. One love. We out.